Today, all the caminos are well signed. Once in a while, you maybe miss one sign because you were talking to somebody. They all have their charm, they all have their charm. Um, if I tell you that I like better the coast of Portugal, from Porto to Santiago, or that I like better the Primitivo, or even the Camino del Norte, or the part that I done from the Frances, or the road between Santiago, Murcia, Finisterre, Camino. I fell in love. I broke my heart. I met some people. I adopted daughters and sons. And walked together with them. Since I started walking the last 7-8 years, I don't have any idea. I really don't. It should be more than 1,000 miles every year. Recommend it to everybody. Not necessarily have to be a special person. I recommend it for everybody because even if you don't think about yourself, it's a great way to do, very inexpensive way to do tourism.
Hello, Pilgrims. This is Efrain from El Camino Await podcast. We have here today Abe, who has been walked already 5 Caminos of Santiago, and also other type of Camino that he has been exploring. For example, a few weeks ago, he was in Alaska. And so we're going to be talking with him about his experience and what he recommends to do. So, hello, Abe. How are you doing today?
Hey, very good, Efrain. Thank you very much. How are you?
Okay. Good. Thank you for being here today. So I know that you have been walking several caminos already, and you are about to start walking another one. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I used to be a Boy Scout. And then after being a Boy Scout, and then I became, for many years involved in basically as a student and a university student. But I always had that curiosity that I developed when I was a Boy Scout of hiking and camping and walking around. So I started, that kind of stayed with me. And after my kids left and graduated from college, I started hiking. So I live in the Pacific Northwest here in Seattle, Washington. And there's a lot of mountains to conquer and a lot of trails. So I done parts of the PCT, parts of the California coast, up in Northern California hikes, and also up in British Columbia and Vancouver Island, up in Alaska, down in Patagonia. And then I said, what's all this about the Camino de Compostela? And a friend of mine, his wife, Anna, has a travel agency, invited me with him and 2 other guys to do the first Camino. And that first Camino was from Sarria to Santiago de Compostela. And it was all planned for you. They even carry our suitcases, they transfer all our luggage, and we had reservations, restaurants, everything. So it was like walking without no worries. You had to just go 8 kilometers, 12 kilometers, and you were in the next place where you're supposed to stay or do some tourism. I found that to be the start, and then I met some peregrinos walking, and I asked them how they were doing the Camino. And that's when that curiosity started. I say, I need to come back, but I'm going to come back by myself and not with a plan. Just start the first day, arrive the first day at a place, and move on. And that's how I arrived at Irún. That was my first Camino by myself, which was the Camino del Norte. And that was 34 days that I took to do that Camino all along the northern coast and from 4 regions of Spain. So we had the Basque Country, Asturias, Cantabria, and then Galicia. And different food, different language, Spanish, and great times, and beautiful and really great way to do tourism and at the same time to enjoy the Camino.
What would you say that was the main difference between that small Camino that you did from Sarria to Santiago and the one that you did from Irún to Santiago?
I think the freedom that I had every day, I just planned one day at a time. I
Okay.
feel my body, and if I could walk 20 kilometers that day, I'll walk 20 kilometers. If I can walk 43 kilometers, I'll walk 43 kilometers. And the freedom to be able to stay and then to stop and be able to take pictures, meet people, converse, help in a restaurant cook breakfast for other peregrinos that were coming by, because there were a lot of them at certain places, and the restaurant owner didn't know what to do, and so a couple of us helped with the kitchen, and then later on, after the wave of people went away, we sat down with him, and then spent some time talking about his experience,
Okay.
taking care of peregrinos every day, and getting to stay at albergues instead of hotels. So,
Okay.
and that was very unique, and so I think that experience that way was more of a memorable and something that I'll remember forever. Yeah.
Okay, and that Camino del Norte, comparing with the Camino Frances from Sarria, that is small, is more popular, the one from Sarria, than the one del Camino del Norte. So, is a lot of people in Camino del Norte, or it's not that much?
There's a lot less people in the Camino del Norte. There's a lot less people in the Camino Primitivo, which I did last year. And so their caminos are a little bit tough, but you go along the coast, there's less opportunities to stop in a restaurant or a small albergue or something. So you have to plan more your time. I think the beauty of it is you see more of the countryside. In the Camino del Norte, you see all the Bay of Biscay. You walk along the cliff, and there were places that it was you found yourself more with the Camino instead of being surrounded by 100 people. When you were walking the last 100 kilometers from to Santiago. And that's
Okay, and what
that's
about
that's
the
because
sign?
all the caminos come together at there also. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And what about the signs? So the one that I know that the one from Sarria to Santiago, you have a lot of signs to know where you need to go. But what about the Primitivo and Del Norte? Do you have signs
You
too?
know, today all the caminos are well signed. Once in a while, you maybe miss one sign because you were talking to somebody. But
Mhm.
there's good applications. We got Google Maps, but we got applications like Buen Camino or Camino Ninja, and then and so there's two other applications too. Sometimes that I will use. I also carry a Garmin with me, so that helps me also set up my trails. But I'm one of those that is a rebel. So a lot of times I go off the Camino and then to the trails that are maybe less popular and also around along for example, in the Camino del Norte, the trails that were along the cliff, and then walk through
Okay.
there. And there was nobody around at that time. And then I like
Okay.
going into caves and then discovering what's inside of the caves, and how are they, and then listen to the buffons in the Camino del Norte. So that was very good.
Wow, what an experience.
It's an
That's
experience.
really
I didn't know
interesting.
that was going to be that experience. It's a big
Okay.
surprise for me too.
Okay. And then with all that technology that you said, there's no scare to get lost or something. So you're fine with that?
Yeah, I met different people all the way from 18 to 80-year old, and everybody always we all felt safe. We know the direction, and there's something very special about the Camino. I found it in Portugal when I did the Camino from Porto to Santiago, also in Spain. That the people in the little town, the little villages, if you're lost or you have that face that you don't know where you are, they will come around and say, "Hey, that's that way. You need to go that way. Don't go that other way because that route is there's not it's not well supported, etc. Just follow this way." And they'll come and give you a hug and say, "Buen camino, peregrino," and it's something very special, very special.
Yeah, I remember last year when we were doing the Camino, I got lost at some point because I was talking to somebody else, and then so suddenly I found a lady, that lady told me, "You are doing the Camino, right? Because you can it's looking like you are lost." And I said, "Yeah," and well, it's the other direction.
Yeah, yeah. I also found, because after you do the first Camino, you kind of look for that yellow arrow or for the shell, all the time, or the symbols.
Yeah.
In France, you have to look for the bars, the color bars. And then, but in Spain, people are very friendly. They really come out of their houses and tell you, "Hey, no, follow this arrow, and then there will be another arrow next place. So keep keep always following the coast." And so the neat part, it's hard to get lost. I think the hardest part is to stop walking. You want to keep walking, and once you start walking, you want to keep walking.
Yeah, it is amazing when you start walking, and even if you are up to the hill, you feel like you need to continue. You may be stopping for a little bit, but then you continue. You don't want to stop it because it's like an adventure.
It's addicting. It's addicting. It's very
Yeah, yeah,
addicting.
you're gonna be about to do the sixth one in a few weeks, right?
Yes, in a couple of weeks, I depart on the 7th to Iceland. I'm going to be there for 3 days doing some small hikes in Iceland. And then I go to Paris and then spend a couple of days in Paris. And then I take the train to Lyon and then to Le Puy-en-Velay. And then I will be starting there, walking all the way south through the Basque Country of France, then the Pyrenees, and then finish in Irun, right at the border of the coast, and then start the Camino del Norte all the way to San Sebastian, Bilbao, Santander, and then cut into Oviedo to do then the Camino Primitivo all the way to Santiago. And then in Santiago, I'll continue on to finish there.
Oh, so you're gonna go to the what it was the end of the war
The
by the
end of
time
the
of
world.
Columbus.
That's right. Yes.
Yes, that's beautiful. So have you
Yep.
been there before?
Yes. So I celebrate. There's a person. His name is Jacinto, and
Okay.
Jacinto is the manager of the O Semáforo Hotel. So that's
Okay.
a little commercial there. But he's ready for me when I arrive at the end, and I spend 2 nights there to celebrate the end of my Camino, and I hang my boots there at the end of the trail. So my boots
Oh,
are maybe they're not there now, but that's what I do. I throw the boots at the end of the trail, and they're hanging there until somebody else maybe needs them, picks them up.
yeah, that's really nice. So this is amazing. That's experience. You that have been walking that much, do you have any idea how many kilometers have you walked or how many miles?
Um, since I started walking the last 7, 8 years, I don't have any idea. I really don't. It should be more than 1,000 miles every year.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's a lot, and that's really good. So, and this year in few weeks I'm gonna do my second Camino. And right now, I don't have the time to do a long caminos like you are doing, but I'm going to be walking from Sarria to Santiago, that is 117 kilometers.
Right.
And I know that it's going to be an amazing experience because the last year I have prayed on the Coastal Portuguese
Oh
Camino.
yes, you'll enjoy it.
Yes. So, which of the Camino have you liked the most?
They all have their charm. They all have their charm. Um, if I tell you that I like better the coast of Portugal, from Porto to Santiago, or that I like better the Primitivo, or even the Camino del Norte, or the part that I done from the Frances, or the road between Santiago, Murcia, Finisterre, and back to Santiago. I couldn't tell. They're all very special. It will be hard, and it will be not fair to any Camino, because they're all very special, and they all have their own charm. The people, the food, the architecture, the old stones, a lot of old stones. I wish the stones and the old trees can talk and tell us their story.
Yeah, it would be great. So thousand of year, more than 1,000 year,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Camino have been walked
yeah,
by different pilgrims.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is great. And then other thing, because you have been working probably on so many different seasons of the years. So what would you say that is the better season to do a Camino and the worst season to do the Camino?
I think June, July, and August are the hardest because they're hot. There's a lot of people from Europe or other countries that are on vacation. They're in the Camino. I prefer September, October, and November. There
Okay.
it's less crowded. You are enjoying the hospitality without too much stress of the different albergues or hostels that we stay at. I think the weather is also cooler. You get to see. Still, there's some vegetables, some fruits out in the Camino. So the Camino provides. We eat figs, tomatoes, lemons. Apples, peppers. So like there's always something in the Camino during that time of the year. Then the other time will be May. I think May is a good time also. So you just have to dress accordingly. Wear layers. If you get too hot, then you can start taking off some clothes. But I prefer May and September, October, and beginning of November. Yeah.
And what about April? April is still too cold or
It's
no?
still too cold, still too cold. Yeah, and then some of the albergues are not open yet, so they start, I think, opening in March or maybe some of them in April, but I don't know for sure. But it's also, that's the time that I have available right now. Maybe next year I'll have more time, so I can maybe start in April, and I'll let you know how did it go. Yeah.
Okay, that's really nice. And you that recently walked to the Alaska area, because Alaska generally is very cold, so most of the time of the year, I guess. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
but that is end of May and June, and then
Okay.
it's the best time before the tourists come in. And then June, July, and August, the tourists come in, so it's a lot harder to be around. There's more people. I think September will be a good time. I just want in September. And then if you want to do some snowshoeing and then get to see the northern lights, then definitely November, December, and January are a good time. I was there in November doing some snowshoeing, and then also in January time frame, and then got to see the northern lights, and so that was very nice.
Yeah, and then so when you were working when you're going to restaurants and to all those places that are really nice from those areas, what do you like the most about those places that you visit from town to town?
In the Camino,
Yes.
yeah, what I like about the in the Camino is that all those small villages have very small restaurants that are owned by old moms, or they're family owned. They're run by a little family. A lot of time the kids or some of the adults or grandma or grandpa are the ones that are running the restaurant or the little bar restaurant. And so to the point that you get to sit down and talk to them, about their life, how they live, and how they survive there, how dependent they are of the peregrinos or not, and why are they living there. And you hear stories that they tell us from their great grandparents that used to come to the United States or to the Caribbean to make some money, and they brought the money back to northern Spain and built all those old houses. They're beautiful in northern Spain with money that they made in the Caribbean when their great grandparents were here in the Americas. So
Wow.
a lot to
That,
discover
that,
still there.
that's amazing. And what would you say that is a very good memory that you have about any of the Camino that you have walked through?
I think it's the people. Not only the people from Spain, but also the peregrinos from all over the world. You know, I in the Camino, I fell in love. I broke my heart. I met some people. I adopted daughters and sons. And walked together with them. We all cheer up each other. I think that experience of meeting all the peregrinos from all over the world and getting to know them very, very good, very spiritually, personally. It was a awesome experience. Yes.
Okay, that's really nice. And what would be any advice that you will tell somebody that have not done any Camino?
Just make the time and do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any other tips that you would provide to that person?
Pack light. Keep an open mind. Take a lot of pictures so that you'll remember. And take your time, one day at a time, one day at a time, one step at a time. If you want to get up early and go and see the sunrise. And make sure you stay late to see the sunset. And then walk every day just with an open mind. Walk in the rain, walk in the nice weather, enjoy. The Camino will provide, and be open to meet people, and then also that way you get to meet yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, that you have time for yourself because you are walking and nobody's waiting for you.
That's
It's
right.
just you go at your own pace.
That's right. It's like
And
pressing a reset
and
button in the brain.
yeah,
You're responsible for yourself and only you. So that's a great feeling. You don't have to write
yes,
checks for anybody. You don't have to pay any bills. You're just taking care of yourself every day.
correct. It's like an open door to the happiness, I would say,
Oh, definitely, definitely. You learn a
because
lot about
everything is good.
yourself. You learn about the important things in life. And so it's kind of dangerous because you come back from the Camino and you're no longer materialistic. You're no longer care about stuff. You basically come back with a different mindset.
Yeah, about have you heard about that? What they say that the Camino start when you came back.
Yeah, yeah, yes, they say that. Yes, yeah,
Yes. So and then I was one of my interviewers that I had an interview like 4 chapters ago. She was telling us that the Camino is like the life. It have ups and downs, and the majority of the time when you are going to the Camino, she was telling me, and there is people that is all focused on just getting to the goal, and you see that it's happiness all around, even if you have pain because your knee pain or you have blister, but people still want to keep going.
yeah. And people support each other.
Yes.
They really encourage it. So the energy is all together to help each other out to get to Santiago.
Okay. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Would you recommend to do the Camino to someone special? Who will be that person?
I recommend it to everybody. Not necessarily have to be a special person. I recommend
Okay.
it for everybody because even if you don't think about yourself, it's a great way to do very inexpensive way to do tourism, and it's much better than doing it driving in a car in a freeway. You get to experience, the people, the countryside. You get to see the culture, the language, and so I recommend it to any of my friends. I actually friends that I talk to, they've done that Camino. They make the time to go and do the Camino. So it's incredible to see their reaction once I start talking to them about it and show them a map. They go, "Oh, I need to do this then." And so I think I have not almost all my friends that I talked about it, they listened to me. Today they have done, including my sister, have done the Caminos now. So, and they're
Yeah.
in the waiting list. Some of them have the Caminos in waiting list. They want to go, maybe not this year, but next year or the following year. So
Yeah,
it's
so
good
there,
to
there
see
are
that.
several people that have that on the bucket list.
Yeah.
And before this interview, I was talking with a potential customer of us that she has been looking into the Camino for so long,
Yes.
and he wanted to do. You know that there are two ways to do the Camino. You can do it like you're saying through the albergues, but you can also do it with a private hotel that you go to private
Right.
room and
Right.
the private bathroom. So that person told me I wanted to do it, but just private. I don't want to sleep with everybody in an albergue because there may be people snoring. There may be people that sometimes make some noises. So I prefer the other way. But it's like everybody. Everybody's different. So there are
Everybody's
people that
different.
like this way. There are people that like the other way.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you sleep or where you eat. I think the most important part is the walk, where
Yes.
you're walking and who you encounter and who do you have a beverage with or a coffee or a pastry in the Camino, and you sit down and your breaks and you meet other people and you talk to each other, and then find and that really, life is good, and life is
Yes.
very good for a lot of people. So
Yes. Here in Camino Wonder, what we tell people is that let us take care of the way, and you take care of your why you are doing your Camino.
that's right. That's a good. That's very good.
Yes. So, well, has been absolutely great the time with you, Abe, today. Something else that you would like to comment to future pilgrims?
No, just pack it up and go.
Okay. So, thank you very much. And thank you very much, Pilgrim, for having us today as part of your videos. And please put your comments on the comment sections about questions that you would like to be answered for future people that we interview. And please follow us on our social media on Instagram and also on Facebook. And so we appreciate your time today. See you on the next chapter. Thank you very
Good.
much.
Very good.
Buen camino.
Hey, buen
Buen camino.
camino. That's right.